Oh, keep sipping that $7 oat milk latte while the entire neighborhood gets bought out from right under you. I mean, you're literally drinking your down payment and then wondering why you're still renting at 35. It's actually pathetic. See, while you're busy being a customer, the real money is busy turning your caffeine addiction into a predictive indicator for massive capital gains. I'm going to show you how to stop paying rent and start tracking the coffee shop indicator before you're priced out of your own zip code. You really think you're being sophisticated because you know the difference between a flat white and a cortado? Newsflash, the only thing you're an expert in is subsidizing someone else's commercial mortgage. You're trapped in a cycle of aesthetic poverty, you know? You see a new shop with minimalist lighting and a neon sign that says "Stay Grounded," and you think it's an Instagram moment. I see a signal that property values in a 3-block radius are about to jump 20%, while your landlord prepares your next rent hike notice. This is the psychology of the perpetual renter. You consume the lifestyle, while the top 1% buys the infrastructure. You're playing the role of the early adopter in a gentrification play, right? But you're the one getting played. You're busy focusing on the foam art, completely oblivious to the fact that the arrival of high-end specialty coffee is the most reliable buy signal in urban real estate. By the time the mainstream news tells you a neighborhood is up and coming, the 400% gains have already been pocketed by people who don't wait for permission to build wealth. I'm going to break down why your favorite weekend ritual is actually a siren song for your financial ruin. And I'm going to teach you how to flip the script so you can finally start owning the zip code instead of just visiting it. You need to stop looking at the menu and start looking at the map. Because the window to stop being a victim of the market is closing faster than your favorite pop-up shop. Let's do some basic math, since your high school calculus teacher clearly failed to mention how to actually build wealth. You look at that $7 oat milk latte and see a morning pick-me-up, right? I look at it and see a glaring red flag for your bank account. And no, not for the reason those stop buying avocado toast boomers drone on about. That latte isn't just a drink, it's a data point. High-end coffee shops aren't just selling caffeine, you know. They are operating on high-margin, high-traffic models that require very specific, very expensive infrastructure. They don't set up shop in cute neighborhoods by accident. They do it because the math told them you're willing to overpay for a vibe. But while you're sitting there feeling sophisticated with your laptop, your net worth is literally evaporating in real time. You've been brainwashed into thinking your money is safe in a high-yield savings account because it's only 4%. Let's look at the actual reality. Inflation is eating at least 3% of that right off the top. After you factor in taxes, you're basically breaking even while feeling proud of yourself. Meanwhile, the home price is in that very same neighborhood. What I'm looking for is capital velocity, the actual speed at which money is moving through a specific location. If you can identify the 24-month lag between the moment that first expensive espresso machine is unboxed and the inevitable property value spike that follows, you've found the only cheat code to wealth that actually matters. You can either be the person paying the increased rent or the person collecting it. Most of you are just too busy Instagramming your cup to notice the for sale signs turning into sold signs for double the price. But the math of the location is only one side of the coin. Because even if you find the right neighborhood, there is a psychological trap designed to make sure you stay a consumer instead of an owner. And it starts with the one thing you're probably looking at right now without even realizing it's a lie. Look, it's finally time for you to graduate from being a mindless, passive consumer to actually becoming a social cartographer. While you're busy, I don't know, stressing over whether to get the oat milk or the almond milk, I need you to actually look around for once. Most people are completely blind to the financial architecture of their own neighborhoods. But you're going to start mapping it, right? Step 1 is the 3-mile radius audit. Please stop guessing where the next it neighborhood is based on some TikTok influencer's filtered recommendation. Start tracking new commercial leases within a 3-mile radius of these high-end coffee shops. I mean, when the boutique gyms and the overpriced salad chains start signing 10-year leases, the smart money has already decided that your neighborhood is the next gold mine. They aren't guessing. They're betting on your desperate desire to belong to a specific social class. Step 2 is the laptop to table ratio. This is where the psychology of money gets really loud. If you walk into a shop and at least 40% of the people are perched over MacBooks, you haven't just found a cafe. You found a high disposable income hub. Those $2,000 machines are just signals, right? They tell you that the people in this room have the capital, the remote work flexibility, and the pathetic need to be seen grinding in public. This is where your future wealth is congregating, long before it actually hits the real estate market. You need to understand the concept of the third place. It's that psychological anchor between home and work. When a neighborhood perfects the third place, commercial real estate values don't just grow, they explode. You're looking for the epicenter of where people spend money they haven't even owned yet, just to maintain an image. But look, identifying the hub is only half the battle. Because once you find the gold mine, the system has a very specific way of making sure you're the one digging the hole, instead of owning the land. It all comes down to a single, subtle, psychological trigger that's currently sitting right in front of your face. So you're staring at that overpriced brownstone next to the artisanal sourdough cafe, feeling like you missed the boat because you don't have a spare $3 million boring a hole in your pocket. I mean, get over it. While you're busy romanticizing the idea of becoming a landlord, the real money is being made by people who don't even know your zip code exists. You don't need to own the brick and mortar to own the development. You just need to stop being a customer and start being a shareholder.
Let's talk about the neighborhood REIT strategy. Most people are obsessed with buying individual properties, which is the perfect way to get yourself house poor and house stressed. Instead, you should be digging into SEC filings or tracking specific REITs, real estate investment trust, weightings. When a massive retail chain decides to drop a flagship store in a rising neighborhood, they aren't guessing, right? They have teams of analysts who spend more on demographic data than you earn in a decade. When you see that construction fence go up, stop thinking about how the noise is affecting your morning commute. Start looking for the REITs that hold those commercial contracts. If you take that pathetic 15% of your discretionary latte budget, the money you usually throw away on overpriced foam, and redirect it into these assets, you aren't just watching the neighborhood gentrify. You're effectively taxing the people who are moving in. You let their rising rent and their need for overpriced amenities pay for your future, rather than letting your rent line someone else's pockets. It is simple math. You invest in the infrastructure of the trend, not the trend itself. But here's the part that will actually keep you up at night. Even when you find the right REIT, there is a hidden mechanism in the way these corporations structure their debt that makes most retail investors look like absolute amateurs. It is a subtle game of leverage that ensures the institutional players keep winning while you stay stagnant. Do you actually know what happens to your dividends when the commercial vacancy rate in that area hits a specific threshold? Because I promise you, the people at the top of the food chain have already planned for that loss, while you are still checking your bank app for pennies. Stop being a spectator in your own financial life. I mean, honestly, the coffee shop indicator is screaming at you, but you're too busy scrolling through someone else's highlight reel to notice the massive shifts happening in your own neighborhood.
You're watching the world change through a 6-inch screen, completely missing the capital flow happening right in front of your eyes. So you have a choice. Either you use your brain to track where the actual money is moving, or, you can keep busy writing rent checks to a landlord who's already doing the math for you. That landlord isn't lucky, right? They're just paying attention to vacancy rates and foot traffic, while you're busy hoping for a miracle from a high-yield savings account that barely even touches inflation. If you are finally tired of playing the victim to a cycle you don't even understand, it's time to wake up. Stop hoping for a promotion to save you and start identifying the assets that are actually going to grow. I've broken down the top 3 sectors currently primed for the next 24-month cycle in the pinned comment below. Read it, study it, and stop settling for financial mediocrity. If you want to break the cycle for good, hit subscribe and join the few who actually want to build real wealth.